Welcome back to this explainer. Okay, picture this. It's the morning of November 26, 725 AD. The air over Chichen Itza is crisp, and our Norse explorers are gearing up to execute a massive strategic pivot. You see, up until now, the Vikings have moved as one giant, unified force. It's been safety in numbers. But today they make a really bold choice. They decide to divide their strength to multiply their discoveries.
So, here is how today's events are going to unfold. We'll start with diplomacy at dawn, break down the strategic split, switch gears to look at the Mayan perspective, and finally wrap up with two new horizons.
All right, let's dive right into part one, diplomacy at dawn.
As the first light touches the temples, the diplomat, Kubalu, approaches King Kinich Yaks Kukmo. He needs to secure permission for this massive split, and he handles it perfectly. He carefully frames the request not as, a sign of discontent or restlessness, but as a genuine desire to broaden their discovery of the Mayan lands. And the king's response is just incredibly eloquent. He says, Ragnar's ambition is as vast as the ocean he speaks of. We grant this permission. It's a huge moment because this interaction instantly establishes a foundation of deep, mutual respect rather than suspicion.
Armed with the king's blessing, Ragnar gathers Hakon and 15 designated men in the main courtyard. Now, how do you sell a massive division of forces to a crew that relies on each other for survival? Well, you frame it brilliantly. Ragnar tells them, we split not from weakness, but from strength. He explains that this land is just too vast, right? Its secrets are way too numerous to explore as one single, slow-moving procession. To actually maximize their efficiency, they simply have to divide. It is a bold, undeniably strategic Viking move.
Moving right along to part two, the strategic split. So here is the master plan. Ragnar devises two completely contrasting missions. First up, you have Hakon commanding a heavy, logistical sea journey with 15 men heading all the way back to the coast to literally build a new ship. Then, you have Ragnar commanding the rest of the crew as a smaller, highly agile land unit. They'll be trekking overland to explore ancient sites with local guides.
Let's look a little closer at Hakon's route because it is incredibly demanding. Step 1. His 15 men have to march 5 full days back overland to where their ship is anchored near Tulum and Ekab. Once they finally get there, 8 men are going to stay behind to construct an entirely new vessel, a supply ship meant to be towed behind their main longship. And the cool part here is that Kubalu and their Mayan allies are actually staying behind to help facilitate this whole construction process. Finally, Hakon and the remaining 7 men will sail the longship north around the peninsula for 5 to 7 days, aiming for a very specific beach near a place called Xcambo.
Meanwhile, Ragnar's smaller party is hitting the jungle paths. They are set to explore the ancient sites of Izamal, and Dzibilchaltun. But honestly, the absolute genius of this plan is the rendezvous. Think about it, trying to meet up on an uncharted coast without modern technology? It's like finding a needle in a haystack. So Ragnar's land party plans to reach Xcambo beach first and light a massive fire, sending smoke signals high into the sky to guide Hakon's ship in. It's just a brilliant synchronization strategy.
Okay, which brings us to part 3, the Mayan perspective.
This is where things get super interesting. Ragnar's land party is being guided by 2 locals, Xcambo and Xcambo, and it's fascinating how these guides operate. They use their native tongue, Yucatan Maya, which is this rapid, incredibly melodic language, to speak privately right in front of the Viking crew. I mean, none of the Norsemen can understand a single word of it. The only one who can is Kubalu. It creates this wonderful layer of dramatic irony, because while the Vikings are laser-focused on maps and logistics, the guides are standing right there, secretly discussing the true hidden nature of the journey they're all about to undertake.
To give you an idea of what they're actually saying, listen to this quote from Xcambo speaking privately to Xcambo. She says, "The sky path is long, the earth path winding. We must watch not only the ground, but the unseen currents. The great scar, it holds a different kind of power." What you should really take away from this is a profound contrast in worldviews. The Vikings, who the guides referred to as metal men, well, they see only stone ruins and physical distances. But the Mayan guides, they know they are navigating powerful, active spiritual terrain. They essentially see themselves as the eyes for these physically strong but spiritually blind explorers.
And that leads us perfectly into our final section, part 4, to New Horizons.
That evening, the entire Viking crew gathers in the grand dining hall. everyone knows this is it, their last night together as a single, unbroken force. To mark the occasion, the Mayan cooks prepare an absolutely magnificent feast. We're talking roasted fowl, perfectly spiced vegetables, sweet fruits, all washed down with large clay jugs of a highly potent fermented agave drink. Trust me, it's way stronger than anything the Vikings have tasted since leaving home. The atmosphere in that hall is just thick with camaraderie. You've got stories of their frozen homeland mingling with excited speculation about the wild adventures waiting for them the next morning.
Then, right at the peak of the night, Ragnar anchors the emotional climax of the evening. He stands up, a large horn of that potent agave drink in his hand, and his voice just booms off the ancient stone walls. He commends his brothers and sisters for facing the total unknown with courage, for walking among a new people with open minds, and most importantly, for earning the deep respect of their hosts. He drains his horn and roars, "To new horizons," and the entire hall echoes the cheer right back at him. Honestly, the bonds forged across the ocean and in this new world have never been stronger.
So, that brings us to our final thought for this explainer. As they step out of the safety and warmth of this epic feast and march toward those stone ruins and open seas, are the Vikings actually prepared for what comes next? I mean, they have the logistics locked down, sure, but what about those unseen currents and the spiritual forces of the great scar that Xcambo and Xcambo were whispering about? Their physical strength is unquestionable for sure, but tomorrow that strength is going to be tested in ways they can't even begin to comprehend.